the wrong button. So, okay. Here.
Hey, how you doing today?
Okay. I'm really
Okay. That doesn't sound like
I'm not top of my game. I was practicing a little bit and it was really frustrating. So
tell me about it.
that was just it's mostly just I'll log it in my computer. So I'm getting caught in the, so I was using the app right before talking to you, and I've been,
Okay.
there you go. And so I was doing the just match, do re mi, and I was doing really well with that. So when they say, here's do, do it, got it, do re, do it, got it, do mi, got it. And then I go to the next stage, and so the next stage is, here's do re mi, now do mi or re or whatever. And I keep getting mi and do really well, but then the re I just keep missing, and it's just as anything, just getting frustrated.
Can you demonstrate for me what is this? This is with the app?
Yeah, it's with the app, but I don't know if I can play the app or not. Let's see it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, here, let me see if I can just play the app. Let me know if you can hear this.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Oh, one more time. I guess I won't play the sound of the app while I'm on Zoom.
Right, if you're on the same device. Yes, okay.
It might, but yeah, I mean, it's nothing it's just normal stuff that's expected. It just is.
Just happened right before we got on the call.
Yeah. So it's, and so I've been practicing the R's.
Oh, that was grisly. That was good.
I can do the rolls are not so bad most of the time. That one with the voice, with like the sound coming out, for whatever reason, that one's still a struggle for me. But working on it. It's like I can't even control it. I'll do it. And then like it just boom, it's gone. So I just need more practice with it. But
couple of things. Okay. One thing is, don't forget this. Okay. I think we just whizzed through that.
Yeah.
This week. So this is a key to being able to do your lip trills in a really relaxed way. You will immediately notice that you don't have the same tension here. If after a long time, I can do an entire fire engine with just, not doing that. But I promise you, for the first 5 years, every single time I did anything where I was extendedly trilling my lips, I had to do this. Because when you can't, in the beginning, you're still turning off, you're still learning how to control complete relaxation here, and you're just not there yet. And when you do this, it takes the pressure off of feeling like you have to be going like this.
Yeah.
Right. So it looks silly, but that's kind of what we do, and everything gets tight here. And and as a result, like everything stops moving in a fluid way. So if you'll just take your fingers and see the corner of my mouth here, I just go a little bit back.
Yeah.
It's like if you had a dimple. I have one dimple. I just have wrinkles on the other side. And you're not jamming them in there. You're not pressing up. You're not going down, backwards, or forward. You're just taking the pressure off your lips and going from there. So that's tip number one.
Yeah, I totally forgot that one. That does feel better. That one I read out of air. But
now, yeah,
yeah.
that was just air. That was an air issue. Now, another tip: when you started that, you started with breath, rather than voice. So here's what I mean: you went, and then the hum engaged behind there, so your vocal folds came together. So if you will think motorboat from the very beginning, you want the sound, the vocalization to happen.
Yeah.
So start thinking the hum,
Yeah.
and then start the lip movement like that. Try
Yeah.
that. Okay. Well, that went a lot longer. And
Yeah.
you'll get to the point where you don't have to do the little hum. You don't have to go, it'll just, you'll be able to kind of get the sound going right there. Here's the other tip, okay? All right, your phone is telling, I don't know what your phone's doing. Okay, now, watch what I'm doing here. This is part mental, part physical, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same exercise, but I'm gonna bend over from the hip creases. And part of that is because anytime we go upside down, we get a flow of blood and warm stuff, that rushes to our head, and it all goes right past here, right? So it's all, you get the warmth suddenly, and that's the physical thing that goes on. The mental thing that goes on is that you remind yourself that high and low are irrelevant. Like the singing up high doesn't mean reaching, and singing down low doesn't mean pushing, because it all is created here. And so when we go upside down, we remind ourselves, oh, like when you have that flow of the warmth, the sudden warmth of blood in the muscles, and the sudden flexibility, and we have the ease with which we can produce those, you can go longer and you can go higher when you're upside down. And I don't highly recommend hanging out there for a really long time unless you're very well practiced at it. But when we do that, we remind our brain not to play the tapes that high means reaching high. So when I do I'm going to do the whole thing, and I'm going to bend from here so that I keep my, chest. I don't want to cave.
Yeah.
So I want to go from this way. I'll do it kind of like sideways so you can watch the whole action, or like 45-degree angle. And at about 3/4 of the way to the top, I'm going to bend over, and then I'll come up gradually as I'm heading down. So here's the kind of timing of it. Oh, and I just reminded myself of another thing. Okay. Don't be afraid. Did you hear, didn't you say you played trumpet forever ago? Or something like that? Okay.
But not me.
Okay. I played bugle.
I played recorder forever ago.
You did? Well, I guess you do tonguing and recorder, but it's more like instruments with the mouthpiece rather than, I mean, recorder does have a mouthpiece, but it's flute-like rather than, well, even flute is different from recorder, right? Because you have but it's not a reed instrument, so I don't even know what to call it. It's a recorder. But when you're practicing on anything where your lips are coming up against a mouthpiece like that, there's a whole technique called tonguing,
Yeah.
And it's where, your tongue is like stopping or starting the flow of air.
Yeah.
And so when I was upside down and I could feel and sense like, oh, this trill isn't going to make it the whole way, I started doing tonguings every time before it started. So I never had to take another breath, but it relaxed my lips just enough to kind of like re-kickstart it into a more relaxed flutter. So this is all getting really, this is all just tips, like throw everything you can at it, like in the moment. And what I don't want you to do, John, is start worrying about it.
Yeah.
And when we start worrying about it, then you start getting really tense. You start getting all fixated on it. So you just, do it a couple of times, move on. Do a couple of, humming fire engines, one or two lip trill fire engines, one or two. Your tongue roll is awesome. Can I hear a tongue roll fire engine shape? Because we're going to use the lip and the tongue trilling for other things too. So I'm really glad that you can do it.
Can at least roll. See how the fire engine part goes, but.
Okay, observation.
And that particular one, the same feeling of the crack was present. It was there. Rolls felt good, and it's like the same sensation of the hum. I can feel the low to high and the shift from like down here to up here.
Okay. All right. Here's what I want you to do. Let's do another one, because you felt that. And I heard the skip, like it was interesting. You're on the way up. On the way down, it was much more connected, and there was a little bit of a jump, but not as big as the way up. We've talked about that before, I think, about the way up versus the way down. Talk about that? Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in a second then. But when you were going up, there was a skip, but there was no skip in time.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Like your voice never stopped. The sound never stopped. It just like immediately went from one pitch to the next pitch, but it kept going. And that is probably because you're audiating a different way from when an audiate to make vocal noise that we can hear. You're audiating a different way than you do when you're doing like just a straight up verbal vocal audiation. So but is interesting. It didn't sound like horrifically bumpy. Okay. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go up again, same thing, do the exact same thing, go up again. When you approach that part of your range, I want you to slow down, and I want you to be like really, and you may have to get through this and then stop. You may run out of air, but get to that part, feel the change happen. Feel your larynx do its adjustment.
Yeah.
Try not to let a skip happen. So go as slow as you have to go to let it happen and not miss a beat. Okay?
Yeah.
And not miss a pitch, not even 1 cent. I just learned a whole new term yesterday from one of my 14-year-old students. I was like, I've never heard that before. Where'd you come from, kid? That's not fair. All right. So not even one like fraction of it. Like just see if you can get it to be completely connected by going as slow as possible at that point. Okay. And then
the notes change notes slowly, basically.
Yeah, but not trying to like step tone it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't mean go, I mean go like this. So I passed into my head voice, meaning I let it shift.
Yeah.
By going super slow, and
Yeah.
I could actually pinpoint, I could feel where that happened. You can't, you don't feel like a big movement in your throat, but you do immediately feel the change in where your voice is resonating. It's like, it's almost, that's the biggest sensation that we get to recognize.
I felt that fire engine, definitely. I can, when it's done correct. Well, obviously when it cracks, I can feel the difference. But even when correctly, I can feel it shift up for sure, or down. I played around with going slow on the fire engine before. Sometimes it works, sometimes it hasn't. But okay.
I did, and I want you to do that, and then help me remember. There's something that I thought about today earlier that I wanted to tell you. I gotta write it down. So you do that. I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget. Okay, so you didn't slow down enough.
Did not slow down enough?
You did not slow down enough because there was still skips. So I want you to slow down so much when you get to that point that you physically can't skip. Like, you're going to go so slow. You're going to let that happen. You're going to let it happen. Like, just go super duper duper slow.
I'm not slowing down the rolls, right? Just the sound. Yeah.
Now, yes, and so I practically stopped while kind of inching forward, like you're in parking lot traffic on the interstate. You're just going so slow. Now, let me recommend you do this first with your lip trill. Okay. The reason for that is because with the tongue trill, your tongue is more forward. Your tongue's a little more relaxed when you're doing the lip trill. And the tongue is a little more, I just felt that, and I just thought about that. I was like, oh, let me help them out here. You're able to do it with the tongue trill, but I want you to have success first. So do it with the lip trill first and just go super slow. Okay, all right, just do it a couple more times. Slow it down even more. Okay.
Yeah, when I went way too fast, but
that one went pretty fast.
Yeah.
This may be, and this may be something you mess around with this week. Okay.
Yeah.
Do it one more time, just see what happens.
I want to roll my tongue. I don't know if it was slow, but I didn't feel like it skipped as much, that one.
It didn't skip as much. So I want you to play with that this week.
Okay.
Like, really, what you're going for is the release, letting your larynx do its shift, feeling what it feels like. And then on top of that, you are really getting the super duper up close and personal view of the sensation of how your breath supports that before and after the change. Okay, so that's really what I'm ultimately going for.
Yeah.
Your diaphragm is supporting it differently before and after your larynx shifts, because it needs less air after you shift up into your upper range.
Yeah.
So the diaphragm automatically adjusts for that. And I want you to just tune in on how that feels. And this is oftentimes a super long process for people. So by slowing this, like just becoming aware enough of it that you become like, oh, you finally have the epiphanal moment, but it took you like a year to get there.
Yeah.
So that's the more typical route, because but if you will slow it down, like it's a slow-mo video and literally almost go frame by frame, you will become more acutely aware of how the diaphragm is changing its strategy, so to speak, once the larynx has changed its position. Now, the other thing, what?
And you don't mean that it doesn't change in the moment of the switch. It changes like during and after the switch. It stays different than it is underneath. It's not like it happens for a change and then it's back to where it was. Correct? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I've never seen like, I'm mainly talking to you now based on more experience than having seen physically. I've seen physical scopes of and watch the whole progression of the vocal cords and how they change and what the larynx does when it's going through different passagios, which is those changes.
Yeah.
But there's no place that I know of that there's like I mean, there might be, because whoever thought, 50 or 60 years ago that there would be like all these videos of all this, this stuff. So I've never seen what the diaphragm physically does before and after the larynx changes. What I know is what I've experienced.
Yeah.
Which is the sensation that there is a definite change in the flow of air. But you only become aware of these things over a long period of time unless you microanalyze them. And there's a definite change in the flow of air, and that happens because you know the respiratory process. You know the cause and effect. So you know that the diaphragm is changing the amount of air that it's sending. We already know that at the higher frequencies that the larynx needs less air to create those higher frequencies. Interestingly enough, you'd kind of think it would be the other way around, but it's not. And so that's why the sense of like, once you get into your upper range, it feels so free. It feels easy once you get there. There's it just takes more air down low. So and what I'm asking you to do with this whole like go so slow is for you to, like I said, like microscope in on the feeling of how your air is changing. Now, and then I want you to just pay attention to that and start collecting your data, so to speak. I don't want you to jump to a lot of conclusions immediately. See what, and also, I don't want you also, just because you do it a couple of days and it doesn't seem to help, to give up on that process. Don't, like, keep at it, because over time, you're going to become so much more in tune with how you need to support the diaphragm to support that change through that. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, I've tried it a couple times just with like a really soft hum, and I feel like I'm slowing down on purpose. I feel it very smoothly go up. So.
And another thing that you can do is not worrying about so much, in the fire engine, we're concerned with as low as we can go to as high as we can go to as low as we can go. Okay, take the element of the extremes out of the equation. And just do, like, this is kind of like a whole nother thing, like something, do the shape of the rainbow, the fire engine, on ah. Okay, ah is very out there. It's the most out there vowel you can do. It's the most open, most forward. E is very bright, but ah is like your mouth is open. Ah.
Yeah.
And there's, when you're yawning like that, almost had it. And by the way, I got a yawn thing for you to do, but, which you should be able to do today, it looks like. So,
Okay.
but when your mouth is open, there's, especially in the beginning, there's less of a sense that you can control or back off in such a way as to let the larynx do its shifting. Okay?
Yeah.
That's why belting is a difficult skill to learn. It's not impossible, but it's difficult, because like belting and then being able to connect both high and low. And by belting, do you know what I mean by belting? It's where you're singing. It's where you're singing loudly with as much resonance as you can get in your chest voice, not letting the larynx shift. And so you'll hear it's country women singers do it all the time. Carrie Underwood is a phenomenal example. She'll sing super loud and super big, and then she'll flip up into what actually becomes a falsetto, because it's difficult for the voice to just shift and equalize the two parts of your range. Okay, I'm getting way ahead. I don't want to.
I follow. Okay, I get you.
But okay, here's what I want you to do. Do a more gentle version of the fire engine, not as extreme version of it.
Yeah, yeah.
On ah, with that super slow approach. That's going to be really out there. Your voice is going to be out there. Every like flaw will be exposed. So, and what that's going to do is when we're doing the and the and doing it that way, and even on a hum, those jumps can happen. And you can, like, you were like, well, I know that happened, but it seemed so quick that I didn't really see it that time. I didn't experience it as in my face as much that time. But on ah, it will be in your face. So you're forced to slow yourself down. And I only want you to do this 2 or 3 times a day.
Okay.
Because I don't want it to become something that it just is. And again, you're just collecting data. Don't pass judgment on yourself. This is a hard one. Okay. So what you're going to be doing is going, okay. Did you hear that little tiny little, I don't even know how to, it was a little like waver in my voice, tiny. Yeah. That was where the larynx was adjusting when I'm wide open.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even going all full out, and I was letting it adjust, and I wanted to adjust. But what I was paying attention to was, could I connect the pitches, not losing any pitches along the way within that wide open place? And I had to slow down to make sure they stay connected.
Yeah.
You want to try one?
Sure. Does it matter how low I start, or just anywhere?
No, you're just going, no, it doesn't matter. Slow down. Okay, that's right. So you really want to slow down when you know you're getting close. Slow down. Okay. Now, you were slowed enough that gap got smaller.
Yeah.
There was still a jump.
Yeah.
But it was way smaller. And I actually heard some connection points in that gap. I don't know. You'll have to go back and watch your video and listen to that again and listen to what happened. Because to me, it sounded like there were little connection points. Well, one, I can name, I heard one inside the jump. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is progress. Like that's exciting. That's like, oh, well, that whole part of my, my
Yeah.
vocal cords, they're not missing. It's not like chopped out of there. So it's there. It's just not, it's just, I need to slow down so I can experience it. All right. Now, okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Is that the
dog was at the door.
I just took mine for a run before oh, look, who is that?
It's Minnie. She wanted
Minnie?
Minnie, like Minnie Mouse, yeah.
Oh, Minnie. Hi, Minnie. Hi, Minnie. Oh, here comes, there's my dog. I was like, where'd she go? She heard me kissing and she was like, jumped up from her slumber. Mm-hmm. All right. That's so funny. All right. Now, the thing that I thought of earlier today that I wanted to say to you is very often people in general, my students included, will start working, doing their fire engine and doing the stuff, and they get totally stuck on the fire engine because they're jumping, because their voice is jumping. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You need to warm your voice. Like the fire engine is meant to be a warm-up. Yeah. It's meant to be an educational warm-up. There's a lot of educational pieces we get out of it. But it's meant to be a warm-up. So I don't want you to spend your whole day fixating on the warm-up to try to get everything to connect. Like I literally, and I've actually been studying practice theory, not practice theory, practice, the practice of practicing lately. Yeah. And because I've been writing some stuff to publish. And so I've been like, oh, that's so interesting. All right. So learning some stuff for my own practice. And one of the things that is a practice, mm-hmm. to jump from thing to thing, right? Don't spend, and you know what? You would probably understand this physically. As a trainer, like if a person gets fixated on doing like, I've got to finish 500 push-ups before I do anything else today, you're like, okay, you want to max out and move on to something else. And and then you can come back to those, but that's not going to do that. You're going to reach a point of diminishing returns, right? Yeah. So the same is true mentally, not just physically. So you have a point of diminishing returns, but you mentally have a point where your brain will actually function better if you do something for a few minutes, go do something else for a few minutes, go do thing 3 for a few minutes, come back to thing 1 for a few, so you're kind of mixing it up. So, so think of doing that. So as we are adding exercises, maybe what you can do is you have a little list, okay? Like list them, number them, and get a couple of sticky notes or a piece of paper, write the numbers out on this piece of paper, cut them up, put them in a hat, right? So, and then, pick one out. Oh, do a fire engine. Okay, make my 3 observations. Great. Okay, good, do that. Now it's time to do number 4. Number 4 is mile number 1. Okay, I'll do mile number 1 for a little while. Put that aside. Then, put them all back in the hat. Or after you do all 4, put them in the back of the hat. So as we add them to your hat, so to speak, whatever your hat ends up being. Okay, now, how's the body solfege going? Is that
this one or this one?
Either
this one.
One.
Yes. It was good. I think I like this one better.
Okay.
Than the body one. Visually, it just makes more. I mean, they both make sense. It feels better, and I like using one hand. And so this is going pretty good. It's connecting to the steps thing, which is connecting the stepping notes, which is connecting to the app training I've been doing. It's starting to make more sense. It still needs more practice just to consistently get the stuff, but it's a good, mentally it's good for getting a grasp of what's happening.
Good. Let me see you do a scale up and a scale down if you're can.
Is it 2 me's or 1 me?
Can you just do Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Oh, the whole thing?
I'm still too. So, fa, mi, re, do.
I've been doing the
Go
do,
slow
re,
as you
mi a
can.
lot.
Need to. What's that?
I said I've been doing a lot more do, re, mi's. I haven't delved too much into the fa.
Fine. Dude, let me see do, re, mi, and mi, re, do.
Okay. That's a bit easier to get my head around.
We can wrap our brain around that.
Because
Yes.
I've been working on the app with the do, re, mi's, and I haven't even got past that. So I haven't even tried to do the fa, sol, la, ti, do's yet. But do, re, mi, re, do.
Fantastic. I don't know if you could have done that a couple weeks ago.
Not a couple.
You might have. You might have. It's possible.
No, I don't think so. It's the idea of just the re is the next note above do, and mi is like that.
Yes.
That made more sense. So
it's attaching a physicality to it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Hallelujah. That's a win right there, John Hawkins. That's a win. So now here's let's capitalize on that, and let's give you a new exercise that's going to build on that do, re, mi, re, do knowledge. Okay. And this is going to build as you expand that to all 7 tones and up to the octave. So we're going to do it on just the vowels though. Okay. So we're not going to do do. We're going to say oh. Okay. And you're just going to pick any do, just like you've been doing. It doesn't matter because this is movable. The whole sol fa thing is movable do. You can put the do wherever you want it. And by the way, I came across, and I'm making a list. I'm making a list of all these apps and things and there's one of them that is it's pitch pipe. It only has 2 things that it does. One is pitch pipe and one is a keyboard.
No.
So you could, do you already have a keyboard? I can't remember.
My girlfriend does that I've used. I mean, the keyboard.
You have something online that you're using, or?
I just use her phone.
Okay.
But,
well, there's an app for that. So, and I've seen other keyboard apps in the past, but this was a couple years ago, so I hadn't looked. And this one, I haven't downloaded it yet, but I was reading reviews about it, and the reviews were all very high. So, so that will be helpful for moving your do around. You don't have to know piano. You just got to know, like, well, I started on this note, and I'm going to go this note next. And you move the do, you start your do at the next place. Probably like the app you are using is doing. Which app are you using?
Oh, let me. It is called Sing True.
Okay, good. I just went through their whole app program last night, just blasted through the whole thing. It's fantastic. I've never used the app. I've used some of their online stuff. Tools and resources, and talked to the guy. Chris Sutton is the developer, and I guess he's the CEO or whatever he is. But I was like, oh, this is great. I want all my students to do this until they can.
I bought all the extra, like there's like a one-time thing where you can just buy like the whole thing, and so I've got a lot of stuff, like a lot. I'm only on the first stages, so I really like it. I really like it. So
awesome, good. I'm glad. So here's what we're gonna do with your do, re, mi, re, do knowledge. So we're gonna go. This is more of a resonation, wake up kind of a thing. I do a lot of things that wake up our resonators and make our voice brighter.
Sorry.
Oh, hello. I'm so glad you encouraged John to do this.
This is my
sister.
This is my sister.
Oh, sister. Oh, hello, sister. Are you a cheerleader or a twirler?
I'm a twirler with my marching band, yeah.
Nice, I love it. My girls were in twirl, and I hoped that they would do something with it, but they both quit. I was always a twirler wannabe. That's great. Have fun.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
So cute. All right. Sorry, I mixed her up with the girlfriend. Sorry about that. So now, okay. So we want to wake up the resonators, and when we use different vowels, we're moving back and forth a lot, and we're moving pitch too. So, all right, now. So this is starting on your do. Pick a do, any do, and you're just going to be on the O, and we're going to go. Here's the model. Let me just do it for you. It's easier than to talk through this one. O, O, A, O, O, A, O, A, O. Now that's normally where I would keep going. And if you want to, I can give you the whole model all the way up to the next do, because it's just following.
Yeah.
And don't worry about doing hand signs and stuff like this unless you want to slow it down and want to do that. Like, unless that may be like, as you add, you're adding the hand signs. So, but here's what the whole thing would look like. O, O, A, O, O, A, O, O, A, I, O, O, A, I, O, O, A, I, O, O, A, O. Hold on, this always messes me up when I get to the Lati. O, A, I. I'm sorry. O, A, I, O, O, A, I. So all we're doing is we're taking out the consonants.
Okay.
You know that for 20 minutes in the shower this morning. But and at the end of the day, like what I found myself doing, because once I started going really fast and I was trying to get through them really fast and I was working up and down my range doing that, I just got the vowels all mixed up.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter all that much. The fact of the matter is you are using your tongue, you're keeping your jaw still but not stiff, and you're using your tongue to create the shape of those vowels, and you're going up and down your range using all these different vowels and with different tongue placement. That's all we're doing. So, and if you can keep the general model in mind of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, but if it gets messed up, it really doesn't matter. So if you want to do it in front of your little chart, just look at it. But it's probably going to be easier for you if you just you know the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You've said it to me like 3 or 4 times really fast, so you know them. You may not know it backwards quite as well, but you will in time. And but even go slow. Oh, so you have time to think of the next one. Oh, 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 and you notice I'm keeping my jaw still in a relaxed way, dropped, okay, and keeping it still but not stiff, and letting my lips move a little bit, but not letting them like move into O. Yeah. Right. I really want to keep it. And you can see it's my tongue that's really. I'm going to aim so that you can see that. Oh my word! I can't believe it's 2:10. Okay. All right. So why don't you do that for me, and then we'll call it a day.
Real quick, what am I saying? Am I saying O, E, O?
You're saying do, re, mi, but you're doing it without the consonants. O, A, E.
O, A,
O, do, do, re, do, mi, re, do.
Oh,
do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, so, fa, mi, re, do re, mi, fa, so, la, mi, re, do re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. So, and that's what you're doing, but you're doing it without the consonants.
So I'm literally doing the second letter, just the vowel of the do, re, mi. I see, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Shoot. So it's do, re, mi. Is do, re, mi, re, do? Is that what I'm doing right now?
It's like you're going do, and it's not like you're going do, re, do, mi, re, do.
Okay.
And as you add your solfege, and as you're adding on to that physically.
Mm,
If you go past, because you could this week, maybe we add one a week. So
okay.
you've been doing do, re, mi because the
Yeah.
app's been doing that. Maybe
Yeah.
on your own, you add the fa this week. Do, re, mi, fa. And then go down.
Yeah.
Mi, re, do. Then do it a couple of times without the o, e, I, e, o. You know, and do it without the hands if you need to. But if it helps, do it with the hands. Go as slow as you need to get because there's three things going on, right? Your brain is doing it, your body is producing it, and you got the whole hand thing going on. I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
what's the next one. So go slow so that it can all integrate.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then if you want to do some fast, just leave the hand out
Yeah.
because you'll do a lot faster without the hand. After you've
Okay.
done it a few times slow with the hand. Go ahead
Yeah.
and do a couple with the little, just the do, do, re, mi, re, do.
Okay. O, E, O, O, E, A, O, O, E. Is A or E? A. O,
A.
A, O, A, E, A, O.
Okay, hold on. Slow it down so that you don't let your pitch go out of whack.
Well,
Because
yeah.
that you kind of were sliding up each time. So go slow. O, A, or O, A, O, O, A, E, A, O. And then that's the end of it.
Okay. O, 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 A, O,
Good.
O, A, E, A, O.
Okay, that's it. The interval between the re and the mi was a little
Yeah.
wide, so the mi was a
Okay.
little sharp. That's okay because you're putting new stuff together right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, do the app stuff
Yeah, I
and
got
practice it slowly, and then do a couple without the hand.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, and cut up your little list of numbers and number
Yeah.
your exercises and start mixing it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Have a good week. Shoot me any questions. You having any trouble with the notes or the recordings or anything that I'm sending you?
Do I have any? No, not.
Okay.
No. And I haven't done the thumbtack review. We'll get to it. I just need to get
Well,
done.
don't worry about that. I'm going to send you, well, if you do it, that's great. Still do it. That's good.
Okay.
That helps me. But actually, yeah, go ahead and do it. But I'm going to send out in the next week or so a testimonial request, and I'm going to ask you for your picture and get proper release and stuff like that. I've never done that before, so this is like a whole new thing.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, but a quick, some
Thumbtack.
stars, hopefully more than one, and and then like a comment. But in the thing I'm going to send you, it's like I've been asking myself, what are the most helpful reviews when I am looking at reviews for things that I'm looking for?
Yeah.
I've identified some questions to ask my students. What was it like? What is it like working with me? How's it go? Like, and for you, we've only been working together for a month, but is there a difference that you've seen? So I'm asking the more like, what's the difference of working with me questions?
Okay.
Not just like, oh, I like Natalie. She's really nice.
Yeah, it's not very helpful. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So anyways, I appreciate that you even have that on your radar. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, all right, have a good day. I got to get to the school.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Take care.